blame the government for anything. And,
perish the thought.
We've got 5 minutes left, and I'd like to take this last question because it does affect the northwest of England, and it is pertinent to today because of announcements made. Andy Lang, please.
Why can't communities affected by fracking have blocking powers as those offered to those near wind farms?
Yes, and for people still confused about what fracking is, the word actually comes from fracturing rock. And it's pouring water and sand and chemicals into rock and then producing gas from it. And you remember there was a great scare about whether this would cause earthquakes. Today, people who get wind farms are told that they either receive huge sums of money for having a wind farm, or they can tell them to scarper. And the idea is that up here in the northwest, which is the area where fracking is likely to start, the same thing should happen. There should be blocking powers. Matthew Oakeshott, do you think there should be?
I'm very much in favour of wind farms. I think they're attractive. I think they're non-intrusive. I cannot understand why a certain element of the Conservative Party and UKIP seem to be so hostile to them. I think they're very important for the future. I mean, the reason basically is wind farms.
Fracking. What about fracking?
Well, exactly. So wind farms are fine. Fracking, I think people should have much more control over, particularly because it's up here. If you live in Blackpool and you're already having cracks appearing, I mean, they're not so visible and they're not so often in Tory constituencies. But I think people should have much more control over fracking than over wind farms.
All right. Douglas Alexander.
Well, there was a report out earlier in the week saying that Europe has about 3/4 of the same capacity for fracking in the future as the United States. The Chancellor is already talking about its significance for the economy, but I don't sense that the work has yet been done to even begin to answer the gentleman's question. And what we heard today was, if you like, a compromise between the coalition with the Liberals historically more in favour of wind farms, the Conservatives more against. That's fine, but actually if we are going to see delivered anything like the kind of economic gains that part of the government is claiming is going to come with fracking, there's a real urgency in being able to answer exactly that question.
You, sir, on the left there.
Well, I'm against fracking primarily because it's just burning fossil fuel. Whether we find it through fracking or whatever means, we're still burning fossil fuel.
And why are you against that?
Yes.
Why?
We're never going to meet our carbon targets if we're consistently burning fossil fuel.
All right.
I'm a great supporter of alternative energy, which now, by the way, exceeds nuclear. And we're moving more and more in that direction. Finding more gas by whatever means is just burning more fossil fuel.
Salma Yaqub.
I think for a sustainable future, we definitely should be exploring alternative energy options much more vigorously than we are now. On the issue of fracking, I think any move which allows the people who are affected by an issue the most should enable those people to have the greatest say. So I think in the interest of genuine democracy, don't lock people out, listen to their concerns. If there's an argument to be had, have it out, have the issues understood. If you've got a case to make it, but do not take the choice away from the people who it impacts upon.
All right. There are two people, one in front of the other. I'll go to one at the back first, that's you, and then I'll come to you in front. Yes.
We need to take some tough decisions now on what we have as our future energy mix, because if we don't, we're going to have power cuts, we're going to have blackouts in the future, so we need to make those decisions now, rather than waiting, another 20 years before starting.
Are you in favour of fracking?
I'm in favour of a large mix of different energy sources.
And you, sir?
The northwest of England is obviously struggling really, really bad with this recession. This fracking is going to bring a lot of jobs into the area. It's going to give us security for a great number of years. The estimates is that there's somewhere in the region of about 6 or 7 trillion cubic feet of gas that we need to get it out. We need the money in the northwest economy.
You're objecting to that. What are you saying?
Absolutely, it's not bringing jobs in. There's been 4 wells fracked in the Fylde. 2 have failed. No inquiry why they failed, no fines, no regulations. I believe the HSE has never been to these sites for 2 years. There's terrible things happening in America, in Australia, in Canada. We've had people over telling us about what they've had. People are breathing these gases in. All these chemicals are in the ground. Some of them are coming out. We've got to have proper regulations.
Margaret James.
Well, I quite agree there does need to be regulation, and there does need to be a look at the safety implications, but we cannot afford as a country, we can't afford in the Northwest, and we certainly can't afford as a country to reject this opportunity. I think we've got to look to see if we can make it work. It has made such a huge difference to the economy of the United States.
But is she right that it's already gone wrong? You're behind. Hold on, you can't, Matthew, because I haven't brought in
Absolutely wrong.
What?
It's gone wrong
Ian
now.
Wilson, do you know about this?
I think that local people are the only people who can stop these things. Look at all the lies that they were told in the 1950s about nuclear power stations. Now people riddled with cancer and all sorts of horrible diseases. They'll lie and lie and lie to you, and you're the only people who can stop it.
Very brief.
One word. Why fracking is, we've got to be much more careful about it here than in America, where I agree it is having some beneficial effect, is we are a much smaller and much more heavily populated country, and in America they can do it well away from population centres.
Okay.
If you start doing it in the northwest, you get it rippling all the way up the valley.
1,500 feet away from a school.
Exactly.
Okay, well, we've aired the point. And,
but we never get... why are we not getting our voices heard?
Your voice...
Everybody is not allowing it to be heard.
Your voice has been heard by over maybe 3.5 million people right now, and I'm grateful for you making the point.
Do something.
But, well, I can't do anything, but you can talk to them. Our time's up for tonight. We're going to be in Edinburgh.